Welcome to another edition of In Depth. I'm your host, Nick Talbot. Today I'm joined by TNA wrestler champion Joe Hendry. I'm said his name, so he has appeared. Joe, thank you for having us today. Coming down to the Express News to talk today. We're going to be talking about, of course, TNA has a live show this Thursday, another show on Friday down there in the Techport. But let's start a little bit with your journey. It's been a wild 9 months for you, but it's been a wilder, 20 years of your career. How long have you been going at this now?
I've been doing this for 12 years now.
12 years now.
Yeah.
And you started, though, as a musician, too.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, and how disappointing to your parents were you when you said, I want to be a wrestler and a musician?
Well, I was very fortunate in that my parents, they kind of had faith in me to do whatever it was I wanted to do because I was very serious about it. So I was putting the work in. I think that, that's the advice I would give to people is if you do want to pursue something in a creative industry, it's very difficult, it's very competitive. You better be ready to make the sacrifice and put the work in. So, and I had those traits early on. So my parents were very supportive.
That's awesome and great to hear. It took you, a while to get to TNA. Talk a little bit about your background in ICW. What was the grind like getting into that start? Because, you're a viral sensation now, but viral sensations don't happen overnight, right? They happen over, it's like years upon years of work.
It is indeed. I mean, the truth is I've been going viral for a long, long time. And other people have been able to leverage my content, and now with a bit more experience in the business, I've been able to do it in a way that works for me and it works for the companies that I work with and it works for TNA. Whereas previously what would happen is I would have, I did a Pokemon entrance video in ICW. It's on their YouTube channel, and it then was licensed to, there's like a sports Facebook page that will make X amount of thousands of dollars off of it. So I've actually been going viral for, over 10 years doing funny videos and things like that. But, it's with experience I've found a way to do it that forwards my career as well, So, and that's what's been awesome about TNA Wrestling is they have helped me develop as a wrestler, as an entertainer. And so before in the past, when it was I'd have a viral video and then maybe another one 3 months later and 6 months later, I'm now learning to just, kind of keep the train going, if you will.
All right, we'll talk about a little bit of that when we talk about getting your TNA title. But for those who don't know what ICW is and, are familiar with even independent wrestling or, Scottish wrestling, can you fill them in a little bit about just the grind it was over there and just the scene over there a little bit?
Yeah, it was it was very hard. So ICW was, a very hot company back when, back in sort of 2013, 14, 15, 16. And that was, it was shark infested waters. It was a very tough place to learn and to survive and thrive. But it was, I got great experience to do, like I say, when I went to, I had a lot of, big matches and big moments in ICW. And then in What Culture Pro Wrestling, I wrestled Kurt Angle, and that was, between the years of, 2013 and 2017. So in the first 4 years of my career, I'd wrestled, Kurt Angle, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, you name it. I'd wrestled so many big names across these companies, and it was a privilege to do so.
All right. And at the same time, though, walk me through a little bit of the musician career, because how much overlap was that happening? And
there was no overlap.
There's no overlap. So you stopped being a musician when you started turning in wrestling.
I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. I was 24, turning 25. It was a New Year's resolution, 2012 going into 2013. And I decided that January 1st, 2013, you are a professional wrestler. You will commit to this. And that's what I did.
All right. And, the musical background. Tell me a little bit about that, because it has influenced why you're viral now. So tell me a little bit about that musical career and why you decided to go abandon that to become a wrestler.
Because professional wrestling was ultimately what I wanted to do. I have a huge passion for music, but I wanted to be a professional wrestler. And I think the fact that I was in my mid-20s was the kick that I needed to go, actually, if I don't start this now, it's going to be exponentially more difficult. So I was very much doing, still to this day, super passionate about music. And, I do value the experience, and I do rate my skills as a songwriter and a performer, without all that, the cool thing is without all that, none of this would be happening. That was, a huge catalyst for moving forward in professional wrestling, but that was a secondary dream, and doing professional wrestling was the primary dream.
All right. And now, and of course, the musician paid off when you've had the song for years.
5 years, yeah.
5 years, right?
Yeah.
But 9 months ago, you just randomly uploaded it and it went viral. It went to #1 on some charts. What went behind that decision, and were you surprised at the expediency of what happened, considering it has been around for a while?
It wasn't random. Everything I do is tactical. Absolutely everything I do is tactical. I did it because the song was getting a swell of support on TikTok and it was the right time to release it. I knew if I released it then, that would be the time to do it because it was going viral. Anyone that made a video with it was getting, hundreds of thousands of hits. So I made the decision then to release it. We did. And, here we are. And there's some interesting steps in between, but that really was a huge catalyst.
All right. So TikTok actually helped make your career a little bit easier.
Oh, without doubt. Without doubt. I don't know this happens without TikTok, to be honest, because it was April last year when people really started, anticipating where will we hear this song, and it's kind of the fans really sort of willed that into existence for me. They were speculating about me appearing in different places, and then it's interesting how you throw some things out there and then they can actually happen. And here we are. I'm the TNA World Champion.
Yeah, when that was all building up, is it weird like when you would pull up another wrestling program and you just see a giant, I don't even know what they call them, like a fat head of your head?
What's a fat head?
It's like those big giant like heads that are like this big.
Oh, right.
And they're holding up in the crowd.
Yes.
And they're like, because they want you to appear, so they're holding that whether it's AEW, WWE, NXT, you'd see them everywhere. Because everyone was cheering for you and they wanted you to appear no matter where it was, whether it was TNA or anywhere.
It was, it's hugely flattering. It's, it's the fan support that's really got me to this point. They are the energy source for all of this. Without the fans wanting it, it doesn't happen. And that's what I love about professional wrestling. We're in an era where anything can happen. And we're in an era where we're giving the fans what they want. And that's why I feel very honored and privileged to be the TNA World Champion, because I feel like I'm in an environment where, in an exciting way, we're really giving the fans what they want.
All right, let's talk about that TNA run. It's been 9 months of the fans being behind you.
Sorry?
It's been 9 months of being the fans. So they
weren't behind me beforehand.
Being insanely behind you.
Okay, right.
Being like, if Joe Hendry doesn't win the title, we riot type of stuff.
Right.
Like they've really been right. Like, why is he not world champion? Why is he not world champion?
Yeah.
How's this not happening?
Yeah.
You go to the message boards or anything online, it's like, why is Joe Hendry not the champ?
Yeah.
Why is he not fighting for the title? Strap that guy up. So let's go with that 9 months. What has that battle kind of been to get you to world champion? And has it been frustrating at times? Has it been like, hey, this should have already happened, or I should already have these opportunities because I'm doing all these other things and the fans are so far behind me?
I mean, there's no room for complaints in my life, my friend. It's like, ultimately, I was talking to Bully Ray about this the other day on Busted Open, and he says, if you want to know the answer, just look in the mirror. And that's, anybody that becomes a world champion in, a major organization like TNA Wrestling, they put the responsibility on themselves. Anyone you'll have top talents don't whine and moan, they do. And that's the thing. So you have to put the responsibility on your own shoulders. And that's what I've tried to do. And by doing that, you couldn't have laid it out better than it's happened. Because like I say, this happened in April. There were a lot of people that were saying, 15 minutes of fame. Well, we're in January now and I'm the world champion. And when it happened, the roof blew off the place. So we must be doing something right, You're
right. And we expect the roof to blow off at the tech port on Thursday and Friday again. What do you have in store for your title, and what are your goals, and what do you want to see, and how far do you want to take this title, and what can you do with it and elevate TNA and this title with your fame? Because you're not just famous for a wrestler, you're kind of super famous. You're TikTok famous too, which is beyond wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, it's big shoes to fill. I was watching an interview with Kurt Angle and Chris Van Vliet the other day, and I thought, wow, this is Kurt Angle's title, this is Sting's title, this is AJ Styles' title. This title has a lot of historic lineage that you have to live up to. So there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that. But my job as TNA champion is to bring as many eyeballs to the product as possible. And, my whole motto for the last time has been, anywhere, anytime, any show. And I think that what's exciting about this title and the partnership that we have with WWE is that really anything can happen at any time. So I'm very excited to open the door for whoever wants to challenge for this title, whether it be within the TNA locker room or outside of it. I will say we've got an unbelievable roster at TNA, and when you're the champion, you have a target on your back, and there's 20 people who could step up and be credible challengers for this championship in our own locker room.
All right, let's talk about that WWE partnership a little bit. That was, a big announcement the last week. People kind of saw it coming or hoping it was coming because you were being crossover, and Jordan Grace had crossed over a few times. And some other wrestlers have crossed over, the Rascals and whatnot. How do you look back at that time and say, I'm one of the catalysts that kind of got this going, that could kind of help TNA and NXT and kind of this merger? Because, the ratings were better when you got on NXT. People watched.
I mean, I feel very proud of the business that was achieved when I was there, for sure. If you look at there's those metrics are, it's very flattering to hear that. And obviously it was very exhilarating to perform in front of, sold out arenas, whether it be in TNA like we just had in Genesis and Bound for Glory and Slammiversary, but also No Mercy was very exhilarating and a huge opportunity for me as well. So I mean, those metrics are great to hear, but the truth is it is a team effort. In order for me to do that and to have those moments that I did, Jordan needed to kick down the door, so it was like, and then it was Mickie James before her that they kicked down the door. So it was like, it's been a team effort. And it takes an army of people to put one person like myself in position to do these things. So at TNA, we're a close-knit family and a team, and there's been a lot of people that have put a lot of work into getting us to this point.
All right, you talk about them kicking down the door. The one way they kicked down the door is they were in the Royal Rumble, which is coming up. People want you there. Can you speak on that at all and your desire? Is that something you want to do? I know you can't say if you're going to be in it or not.
Is that something I would want to do? What do you think, my friend?
Of course you want to do it.
Look, this is what I'll say. There's a difference between when you are a wrestler and when you are the world champion. When you're a wrestler, you're thinking about what's the path that I can take to forward my goals. When you are the TNA World Champion, you now have a responsibility to elevate the organization. So it will be, it will not be my decision, and it will not be, for me, my goal and my focus is to represent TNA wrestling. So whatever event they tell me it's time to go, I'll be there. Whether it's London, Paris, Tokyo, and beyond. Whatever TNA tells me is best for business for TNA wrestling to go, I'll be ready to perform to the best of my ability.
All right, perform the best of your ability. All right, let's sidetrack a little bit. Everyone knows the theme song. I want to know your favorite song that you've done on the air.
I mean, I have to pick my theme song.
It's your theme song.
It's the one that's changed my life. It's the one that's had the biggest impact. I will say that there was a very fun one recently. It was the shortest one I've done. And it was on Nick Nemeth's brother, Ryan Nemeth. And it just went, we did the life and times of Ryan Nemeth. And it went, he's Nick Nemeth's brother, the end. And that was the video. So that was fun. That was fun. I enjoyed that one.
Short and sweet sometimes gets it done.
Yeah, I made that at 5 a.m. the morning of the show, and then slept for a few hours and went to the show. That's how busy it was at the time. It was crazy.
So how crazy has been your life? I mean, is this the busiest time you've been these last 9 months? Or does it get just crazier now that you're the world champ?
The busiest time was when I was doing TNA and NXT every week and training full-time at the Performance Center and doing indie appearances and doing signings.
That seems a little wild.
It was pretty wild, but I'm very proud of the work that went in. It really progressed me very quickly.
How much did it help to go to the Performance Center and have that opportunity to do that?
Massively. You're working with, I was working with Teddy Taylor on a daily basis. How can you not learn in that environment? It was, I loved it. I love training and I love learning new things. And, I feel Teddy really advanced me in a short space of time. So I'm grateful for that time, working with Shawn Michaels on a weekly basis on the show and learning things about how different TV shows work and their approach to professional wrestling. I mean, you can't ask for better, right?
No, Shawn Michaels, San Antonio's proud son. So we all like Shawn Michaels here in San Antonio. You know, the HBK
Absolutely.
is our pride and joy when it comes to professional wrestling here. So we're big NXT fans and big Shawn Michaels fans in San Antonio. So, all right. So what's next for what's next for Joe Hendry? How do you keep this How do you keep this train going?
Well, the wonderful thing about live television is that anything can happen. We're in an era in professional wrestling now where anything can happen with anyone at any given time. So now I don't just have a target on my back to think about the people in my own locker room. Who knows could appear. And it's not just from the partnership. It could be the indies. It could be other organizations. I have a target on my back from all over the world. So you never know who could show up on live television. And that's the beautiful thing. This is the first time that TNA is going to go live on live TV in 12 years. So it's a huge honor and a privilege to walk into that show as the champion. I will do everything I can do to walk out of that show, but with it being live, you never know what's going to happen. And that is when professional wrestling is at its absolute best, when it's live and anything goes.
And that is live from the Techport Center this Thursday night. You're coming down to San Antonio. You were in San Antonio just in September. Tell me a little bit about that experience. You already been in that arena. You had a big match there. Tell me a little bit about what you thought of the San Antonio crowd and the match there and how that kind of pushed you along this path.
Yeah, it was amazing. I believe that was my match with Josh Alexander, and that was just after No Mercy. So, and a lot of people think that was the best match I had last year, the one with Josh Alexander. So that was, it was awesome. I loved the venue. And actually it was, it's very clear that Texas is a very important market for not just professional wrestling, but for TNA as well. Like Texas is very, very important to us. So that's why we're spending a lot of time here this year and why we've come back so quickly. The fans in Texas are amazing. We appreciate them. And we're really looking forward to putting on a show on Thursday and Friday.
All right. And for those that want to go down to the Techport Center, tickets, TNAWrestling.com.
That's it.
That right?
Yeah. You
get those. And we appreciate you coming in today. Come and talk to us. Come to San Antonio and bring in the Joe Hendry experience. And I'm sure all the fans are going to say your name and you're a peer on both nights.
Thanks for having me, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you.